Hi everyone and welcome or welcome back to my channel. So my name is Beth and today we're just doing a traditional kind of end of the month knitting podcast. Gonna go through all the whips I've been working on, the finished objects from April, and also my acquisitions that are kind of like, wow, it's pretty much all yarn. I was meant to be on a yarn ban. Unfortunately, I spent quite a lot of money on yarn this month. I feel like I'm really good at not spending money until I spend a little bit and then it just snowballs. So we'll be getting to that at the end anyway. I feel like I actually have quite a lot to talk about this month. I think because I did a couple of crochet pieces that they just worked out super quick. So yeah, I'm gonna get into all of that now. I am hopefully going to be putting like cutaway clips of me wearing these pieces over the top while I'm talking because it's super hot. It's really been unseasonably warm here in the UK, not that I'm complaining. We've had like really beautiful blue skies for the last couple of days, but it's been like up in the 20s. I think this is our hottest ever like end of April, beginning of May that's been like recorded in history here, which is kind of concerning, but gonna make the most of the warm weather. But basically it's so hot that I don't want to be trying all these pieces on and off, so hopefully I'll be able to put the clips in so you can see me wearing everything, and yeah, we will just get started. So obviously when this month started, it was like not obviously this hot coming out of like March into April, so I was still pretty much like knitting jumpers, wasn't really thinking too far ahead. So the first one, she's a big woolly jumper. I should say, if you've been here before, you know that I pretty much self-draft everything, which this video, there's actually two that I'm following patterns for, but they're both whips. So this first one is my own design as well. So I have been pinning so many like off-the-shoulder jumpers on Pinterest, and this is the one that I came up with for myself. So hopefully I'll be able to pop in a clip here, but as you can see, it's just got this like all over kind of, it's not really like an uneven rib, it is an even repeat, but it's not like a standard 1x1 or 2x2. I really wanted something a little bit different for this piece, and I actually really loved the way that this rib looked. It ended up being a 7-stitch repeat, which was okay to work with in terms of because this is kind of knit like top down, so yeah, basically doing this as a 7-stitch repeat kind of worked out quite well in the end. And I was really stuck for a long time on how I was going to construct this. So what I opted for is basically under this, I guess like the fold down flap, I basically casted on along this edge here, which is the, I guess like shoulder circumference, and then knitted down as a raglan. So yeah, you can kind of see here obviously where the body and the sleeves increase out, and then I casted on some stitches under the arms. And then at the end, what I did, if you saw the project vlog, you probably would have seen that I wanted this bit that folds, I originally had wanted it to go the other way, so the lines are going the other way, but I just ran into so many issues with pickup rates, and because obviously like rib wants to stretch this way and not like lengthwise, so the amount I was gonna have to pick up was just like ridiculous in terms of my like this might be a bit confusing, but essentially I had to pick up for a row gauge and not like a stitch gauge, and it was just like really threw me off, and I thought, you know, I'd just rather have the finished piece. And I actually really like the way that this looks all going in one direction, so that was fine. But yeah, I basically picked back up and then knit down. So underneath these are like the opposite, so this is technically the back and then this is the front, because obviously this is intended to be worn down all the time. This yarn is the Filicolana Peruvian Highland wool. I bought this last year when I was in Denmark, and I really like this colour. Sometimes it doesn't come up like exactly true to colour on camera. It's definitely a really dark brown, I would say, with like kind of flecks of charcoal running through it. But I think sometimes in some lightings and in some like cameras, I guess, it kind of picks up a lot more grey, but I would definitely say that this is a brown. You will see later in the video this inspired me to get more brown. The one thing that I need to do now with this is I think that I over blocked it a little. So this was kind of like really difficult to block because where it was rib, obviously it cinched a lot before it was blocked, and I wanted this to be a lot more of like an oversized baggy fit. Again, I think if you've seen any of my plans videos, you've seen the like original inspiration for this. But obviously where I was trying to block the body and the sleeves bigger, I had to block it with the fold down because I was really trying to block this kind of like pickup line over because it kept trying to like naturally push up. So I blocked it with that down, but where I was then stretching the sleeves, naturally this bit kind of stretched out as well, so it's just like a little bit loose around my shoulders. So yeah, I've ordered an elastic, and what I'm gonna do is essentially just sew it to this pickup line on the inside. I just bought like a black elastic. Someone did comment on a video that I was working on this and made quite a good point and said, why didn't you do a provisional cast on, because then I could have just picked up the stitches and I wouldn't have had to faff around with all of that. I didn't want to do a provisional cast on because I feel like having a seam here kind of gives it a little bit more structure and hopefully a little bit more strength. And especially now that I'm going back to sewing an elastic, I have like a solid line to kind of attach it to. I feel like if I had done a provisional cast on and it was just continuously knit and then I'd blocked it, I worried that it was going to be way too loose up on the top. So that's why I decided to pick up instead of doing that. Overall, I am really happy with this. I am now probably not going to be able to wear this for God knows how long, because obviously this is like 100% wool, and where this is folded over, it does get really hot like up here. I have had some people ask me for a pattern for this. Truthfully, if I write one, I don't think it will be coming for a while. Firstly, because I don't think it's really like seasonally appropriate, and secondly because I would want to knit a second sample and make some amendments. There's nothing like really crazy that needs to be changed. It's just more so like fit under the arms. So obviously this was really difficult to kind of like try on, because normally if you're doing a raglan, your neckline is kind of holding everything up. So by the time you reach the point that you want to split, you kind of know exactly where it's sitting in relation to like your armpits and your underarm. The problem that I had with this was that obviously where I cast on from here, I didn't know exactly where this was going to naturally sit. There's like a good, I don't know, maybe like 2 inches of difference that this could have sat on comfortably. And I feel like the underarms are maybe like a little bit too deep. I think it's more after blocking. The other thing would be is potentially do the yoke the same depth but cast on less under the arms. But then the other problem is I'd want enough stitches for the bust. And I also actually have been thinking about this now, I think I actually would change maybe the raglan a little bit, just in terms of like moving some stitches out of the body and into the sleeves, because I feel like I maybe did the increase points a little bit too far out, so the sleeves felt kind of small and then the body felt kind of big. Obviously like after blocking and stuff it all panned out okay, but just in terms of like writing a pattern, I wouldn't want to put this out knowing that these little tweaks that I would want to make. But I'm not going to knit a second sample of this anytime soon because I'm really excited about some spring and summer knits. So yeah, in terms of a pattern, maybe in the future, but like not right now. In terms of this yarn, I actually really love this yarn. It's the first time I've used it. I will 100% be using this again. I really like the stitch definition, especially considering this is so dark. I would love to get this in a lighter colour and do some kind of cable knit. I think that that would look super nice. I knit this on a 4mm because I wanted the rib to look super tight and neat, but I think this is recommended anywhere between a 4 and a 5, and I think it definitely runs like a bit of a thicker DK, so you could definitely get away with a bigger needle size. It's just that I really like my rib like really tight when I knit it, so that was just kind of personal preference. But yeah, super pleased. It also didn't take as long as I thought. Like, I was messaging my friend about this and she was like, oh, I bet it took forever because of the fold down portion. But when you think, like, you basically omit all of this, so you save that in knitting time, and this width is actually more like, it's less stitches than the body, so it actually didn't take as long as I thought. And I thought I was going to run out of yarn, but I didn't. I think I maybe cracked into the last ball. I think I had 13 balls, so this probably took about 12 to 13 of the Peruvian. But yeah, let's move on anyway. So again, if you're already a subscriber, you might know I've been doing a like kind of small series on my channel, and there's going to be more to come, of finish, fix or frog my pieces. So my most recent video was actually me working on these two, so I'm not going to go like too much in depth, spend too long on them. But the first is this lace crochet long sleeve top. So again, hopefully I can pop in a video of me wearing this. So this was actually originally for a dress I was making as a commission. The yarn is the King Cole Giza yarn, which is a kind of like, I guess, fingering weight mercerized cotton, and it's actually super nice. For projects like this, definitely prefer like a mercerized cotton over like a normal cotton, because it kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I feel like a normal cotton looks like more rustic, and I guess this kind of looks more like polished. It almost has a bit of a sheen, and I think that this is going to be a really nice layering piece, even like almost a going out top. So I think that it lends itself really well to this kind of design and also this stitch pattern. I do have a whole project vlog of me working on this and the next piece, so yeah, obviously if you want to watch that, it's up on my channel. I basically crocheted this top down, the body's worked flat and then seamed, and then you pick up for the sleeves, and the sleeves are also seamed, but the shoulder you pick up straight into the side of the body. And I'll try and see if I can like hold this in a way that you can just see the stitch repeat. This is crocheted super loose. Obviously this is like a fingering weight yarn, but it's crocheted on a 5mm needle, so you get this really gappy, airy, I guess this is maybe quite like a feminine piece, but worked up super fast. It was super fun to work with. It's only a 2-row repeat as well, so once you've like got the hang of it, it's so easy to just remember and do. Like, after the first couple rows I didn't have to recheck kind of how to do it. And I haven't crocheted in like the longest time. I hadn't crocheted since last year, when I was making my second sample of my granny square jacket, which the pattern is available for. So yeah, it's been really fun, and I'm definitely feeling like a lot more inspired by crochet again. I think for me it kind of tends to like lend itself to more spring and summer knitting, just because of the airiness and like the kind of gappiness that you get in the fabric, whereas with knit you can get it kind of like so much tighter. I think it's more like, yeah, I feel like knitting, like if I was to make a jumper I would knit it and not necessarily crochet it. But anyway, I'm super pleased with this. I can't wait to wear it out. It definitely as well like stretches out after I steam blocked it, so I kind of made it like a little bit on the small side, and I've just been stretching it. Obviously it's cotton, so it will stretch a bit more naturally with wear. I am really considering writing up a pattern for this particular piece, so definitely leave me a comment if you'd be interested in that. I don't think it should take me too long anyway, because It's really simple in terms of kind of construction. It's just the stitch repeat, which I don't think is particularly difficult. And yeah, it's just got like a really open kind of boat neck, so again, you don't have to worry about really much shaping at all. The extent of the shaping is you literally add on a couple stitches under the arms. So yeah, this was project number 2, which I'm just so in love with this one. So this next one is the other thing that was in that video. So this is another thing that I had started maybe like 2 or 3 years ago and didn't finish. So it was a lot more oversized at that point. So I ripped back the yoke, made it smaller. Again, I will hopefully pop in a clip of me wearing it here. I haven't weaved in my ends. I haven't actually obviously worn this out yet. I only finished it like a couple days ago. But I, again, really enjoy this. It's quite interesting to see the difference in these two pieces, because I'd say they're both sort of lace crochet to an extent. This is more, I guess, what you would call like a filet crochet, but with no filled in squares. It is that kind of stitch. It's like a it's like a double crochet chain, double crochet chain, so that's why you get this like grid kind of mesh instead of like the florally mesh. But I think it's super nice. I really actually like that this has like a proper neckline on it, and I'm so pleased that I went back and made this smaller, because I think this is going to be a really fun layering piece. I'm literally in love with the red. I don't really own many red clothes, but I do really like red, and I think that red actually kind of like suits me in a way. So again, I'm super pleased to have this. It's been in stash for literally the longest time. It feels really nice to like actually be working through all of these pieces that have just kind of been like lingering over me in a way. And that's just crocheted as a raglan. It doesn't have any shaping in it, like back neck or anything. Obviously couldn't really put in short rows, but I actually find that the fit is pretty good. I think because the fabric's so gappy, it kind of just like maneuvers to fit your body quite nicely anyway without the need for the short rows. And I actually didn't cast on any stitches under the arm. I did originally try and do that. I chained a couple extra stitches, but I found that it just made it like the sleeves were just way too wide, and I actually prefer that that's more fitted. So that's kind of what made me think with the off the shoulder jumper, maybe if I was to do another sample, I could just not cast on more stitches under the arms. This is kind of off on a tangent, but I was watching a video by Sari Norden recently talking about grading, because if you didn't know, I'm trying to get more into like releasing my own patterns and stuff, because I do self draft so much, and I do get like people do ask like, oh, where's the pattern, and like there's just not one. So I've been trying to do a lot of research on grading, and she said it's actually a lot easier to design a piece from the bust measurement out instead of doing it like just casting on a knit in and then grading it later, because I don't know, it just, you kind of like preemptively spot any issues that you might find like grading across all sizes, and you can kind of change it before you've even knit anything, rather than like knitting a whole sample. Say like with that and me thinking, oh, maybe my raglan stitches could have like been moved around a little bit. So what I might do is if I knit a second sample, I might kind of like decide from my bust measurement how big I want the body to be, and then from that work out the raglan. I think I'll probably do the same cast on. It's not so much the amount of stitches, it's just more kind of like where the increase points are sitting more than anything. So yeah, definitely a tangent, but I think maybe that'll be the way forward next time. Those are my 3 finished pieces this month. I am usually a monogamous knitter for the most part. Sometimes I have like a knit and a crochet on the go, or sometimes I have like a jumper and a sock, but I don't normally tend to work on like multiple knitted pieces all at once, or like multiple crochet pieces all at once. I like to kind of like finish things before I move on. I don't know what happened this month, but we've got a couple of whips, so we're just gonna jump into those. So the first one I actually haven't really made any progress on from last month, to be honest with you, but I definitely want to work on this more this month. I literally don't even have that much left. So that is this lace knit cardigan. Again, I'll pop a video up on the screen. So this is knit using the Drops brushed alpaca silk, and it's got this all over lace stitch. Again, this is my own design. It's got these really cute like I-cord ties in the front and I-cord edges, and as you can see, all I need is a second sleeve. I'm debating adding like kind of ruffles to this around the neckline and the body edge, but I think what I'll probably do is finish the other sleeve, block it, wear it as is, and then decide if I want to add more later, because it's just a case of like picking up stitches. It's not going to actually impact like the base of this garment. The reason I put this off is because I honestly really did not enjoy knitting the first sleeve. I find that knitting this yarn on a small circumference is kind of difficult. So I don't know if you can see, this yarn is actually quite thin. Some people say this is an alternative to a mohair. I definitely think that you could use it as an alternative to a mohair, but the gauge is completely different. So say if you were to follow a pattern that needed like a DK and a mohair, you couldn't use a DK and this, you'd have to use something smaller and this. This is recommended a 5mm needle. Here, let me just show you with this end. It's obviously like not a DK or worsted way, and I don't know what it was. I just really wasn't enjoying knitting this sleeve. So the sleeve is shaped with short rows at the top, and then it's just knitting the round, and I basically was going back and forth between magic loop and really short circulars, like shorty needles. I really hate shorty needles. I can't get on with them. I don't know how people use them. They give me a horrible hand cramp, and I just find that I'm really slow. So what I think I'll probably do for the other side is I'll probably pick up with shorty needles, and I might do the German short rows with them, and then basically when I get back down to like maybe under this lace repeat and I'm just like working around the whole way down, I'll probably switch back to magic loop. It's not ideal. I normally always use magic loop, or not even magic loop necessarily, but what's it called, like half magic loop or like traveling loop, or like socks I do on magic loop. Anyway, I just was struggling with this, so I really want this finished piece, so I am hopefully going to finish it this month, but it's just been like a bit of a mental block for me currently. So I think once I finish my other whips, this will have to be the one that I return to. But yeah, I am pleased with how this came out. I again might write a pattern for this. We'll have to see how it turns out after blocking. I feel like it's kind of hard to say, obviously, because this is lace. I don't really know yet how the full fabric is going to behave, if it's going to like bloom much or anything, because if anything, if I was to change something, I might have made the body a smidge smaller. But what I'm considering is if I do this as a pattern, I might have like, you pick your body size and then you can pick your sleeve size based on your bicep circumference, because these sleeves are like actually kind of like fitted sleeves. Let me like pull this on a little bit. As you can see, they do need to kind of fit your arm, and I do appreciate that. Looking at average measurements, bust and bicep actually don't impact each other whatsoever, even though there's like average measurements. So what I would have maybe done for this is done the same sleeve but maybe a smaller body, but then maybe if I was to write a pattern, I might knit a second sample of it anyway. So yeah, not too sure, but I am pleased with this. The yarn is so nice. It is so soft. It is quite different in texture to a mohair. I would say a mohair is more like scratchy and like itchy. This is just soft. So yeah, if you're sensitive, then this might be a good yarn alternative, and it's actually quite cheap. And this, I think, has hardly used any yarn. I would have to double check to say for certain, but I want to say I think this has only used 3 balls so far, maybe 4, but it's not a lot. So yeah, I'm hoping to finish that this month. So the next one, if you caught my spring plans, well, these two actually are both what I spoke about in my spring plans. I said that I wanted to knit the Soul Top by Rose Knitwear. So this one and the next one are the two that I'm actually following patterns for. Like I said, don't really tend to actually follow a lot of patterns, but I actually asked for the Rose knit book for Christmas. I kind of collect like knitting and coffee table kind of type books, and I really wanted it, and the pattern's in there, and it was really popular last year. Like, I'm sure everyone has already seen this or already knit this, but I'm late to the party. And I had some yarn in stash for ages. It's the Drops Paris, which is like a DK weight cotton. I had like some of the red and some of the purple because I was gonna originally do something striped with it, but when the colours came, they were like not quite actually what I was envisioning. This was maybe like, again, 2 years ago. So I've had it in stash for ages and I'm a little bit short. So I'll kind of explain what I'm doing. I'll show you where I'm at, and then I'll kind of explain the like modifications that I'm making. So the top is normally knit bottom up, and then at the end you do the straps and everything. Because I know that I'm going to run short on yarn, I decided that I was going to do a provisional cast on, which I have done, knit upwards, knit the straps, and then basically with the body just like go as far as I can. If it's a crop top, it's a crop top, I'm happy. So yeah, this is the Drops Paris, and this kind of like crochet chain provisional cast on thing is actually the purple that I have bought with it, which on camera actually looks okay, to be fair, but I think when I was holding the balls next to each other, I was like, this is just not what I was going for. Anyway, I did my provisional cast on. I knitted up like, I don't know, however long this is, and have just started doing the shaping. So I think I'm maybe doing the second size. I can't exactly remember. I said if you were like between sizes to go down if you wanted a tight fit. So this is basically how far I got to with one ball of yarn. This is like where I'm at, and I can't really show you this tried on because it's in such like an awkward state and the cables are all connected and stuff. So this is just what we're gonna have to look at. My concern with this is that I feel like this kind of like shaping is gonna be really like come in really small. I struggle with halter neck things because I have to wear a bra all the time, and I thought that this was gonna kind of like cover my bra because the straps are like quite thick on the sides. I am now looking at this like not convinced that's going to be the case. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the front, I'm going to knit the back, I'm going to do the sleeves or like do a sleeve, and then if it's still looking too small, the modification that I'll probably make is I'll probably rip back and do less decreases either side so that this front panel stays wider. And I'm not really too bothered about the back being smaller, but I don't really want like a load of side boob on show. I don't really think that that's the look. So yeah, I might actually go back and modify it, but it's kind of hard to judge without having like properly knitted the top of this. And yeah, I did get a comment on that video about my spring plans, saying someone that had knit this top, and they said if you pick up in the decreases instead of in the last stitch, it gives it a much cleaner finish. They said they did it a couple of times, so if that was you, thank you so much. I'm definitely going to try doing that. Yeah, if you're interested in it in this top, then maybe that's something that might be of use to you as well. As you can see, I'm loving the red. I've had the red in stash for literally so long. I felt this is going to be such like a basic and just a staple. So yeah, I'm really excited. I don't actually own any knitted summer tops. So yeah, that is what this one is. So I have one more whip to speak about, and this is actually also an acquisition. So that's why I've like left it to the end. I would say this is like my most active current whip. I cast this on when was it, maybe Sunday night, tonight's Friday, and I've just literally been pretty much knitting on this all week. Well, I was crocheting on that red one and knitting on this. So yeah, I guess I'll talk to you a little bit about the yarn first. I bought some Noro Harito. I am not entirely sure how you pronounce it. Let me grab the other ball quickly. So this yarn is kind of like a crazy colorway. I'll talk about that in a minute. I ordered this online, so obviously I hadn't seen it in person. And the problem with ordering Noro yarns is like the swatches that they give are like not really very accurate to how they actually look knitted up. And this particular colorway I could not find on Ravelry. So this is the ball. It's like a silk and cotton blend, I think, and maybe like polyamide or something. And this is the swatch. So again, this is misleading, right? And do you know what? I'm even gonna pop on the screen a picture of what I thought this yarn was gonna look like, and then I'll show you what I'm making with it. So I am actually making blouse number 1 by My Favourite Things Knitwear, which again, I've never followed any of her patterns before. I have been wanting to learn how to do a contiguous set-in sleeve for ages, and also I just feel like this is just such like a staple piece. I've been really wanting like a long sleeve kind of like summer jumper just to like throw on in the evenings and stuff. So this is what it looks like knitted up, and again I will try and pop in a clip of me with this on. So like I said, this was not actually what I had envisioned for the yarn when you consider what the swatch photo looks like. This has so much more turquoise than I thought it was going to have in it, and I'm not really a massive turquoise person. Like obviously this is striped, but I feel like because there's so much of this like blue colour, it looks like all these other stripes are on like a blue background instead of it being multicolored stripes with just blue stripes in it, if that makes like any sense. But I think it's still going to be cute. I think once it's actually like a long sleeve top and I've styled it, it should be fine. But yeah, let me hold up the swatch next to it. So you can see this is actually where this colour is in the repeat. You can see how this is just not like a very good representation. I know it wasn't going to be because obviously my rounds were going to be a lot longer than the rows in my gauge swatch, so I'm not really too mad about that. But yeah, maybe I wouldn't have bought this colorway had I seen it properly knitted up, but I think I'm still going to get a lot of wear out of it regardless. I think it's just like out of my comfort zone, and I know that this is not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I am glad that I went for such like a plain simple pattern, considering this yarn is very busy is how I would describe it. I will say this yarn, it does feel very nice. I have never knit with silk before, so this is like kind of I guess a first experience with that. So yeah, that's been really nice, and it's worked up so fast because obviously apart from like a really small kind of amount of short rows in the back neck, it's all just literally knit in the round. It's been such a joy. It's knit up so fast. Obviously again, yeah, obviously I've never followed any of her patterns before. It seems to be easy enough to follow. I mean, it's like super simple construction anyway, and it's so clever how the continuous set and sleeve works. It's definitely something that I want to implement in some future designs myself, which is kind of why I wanted to like follow this pattern, because it is a construction and like a shoulder shaping technique that I've been really interested in. This year I've been really trying to learn, yeah, I guess different like shoulder techniques really is the main thing. So yeah, this is what it looks like. And the other thing as well with doing it as a contiguous set and sleeve is that obviously the stripes do continue. I feel like if you almost blur your eyes and don't quite look at the shaping, like obviously you can see the edge of the body shaping and like the sleeve, it almost looks like a circular yoke. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm literally just going to be knitting in the body. So again, I should say I am short on yarn for this. I bought 2 balls of this, and I know that it's a little bit less meterage than what is actually in the pattern. So this is what I have left of the first ball, because the thing with Noro is they are really large balls of yarn. I think they're like 150 grams each. So this is all one ball of yarn together. So I'm literally going to go until I finish the body with this. Then with the fresh one, I'm going to pick up and knit the sleeves, and then whatever's left, again, I'm just going to go on however long the body can go. I'm not too worried about it being cropped or anything because I'm short ass anyway, and I pretty much tend to wear everything, like all of my bottoms are high-waisted, so I don't have too much of an issue with things being cropped because I kind of like my top and then my waistband bottom to like meet in the middle. So yeah, I'm really not too worried about it being too short or anything. I already anticipate that it will be. So that is all of the whips. I feel like actually making good progress. Normally I go on ramble about things for like ages, but yeah, that's pretty much everything that I've been working on. So now unfortunately we're getting into the acquisitions. Obviously that Noro was also an acquisition, and when I say I spent a lot of money on yarn this month, I feel like it's subjective, right? I don't know how much everyone else spends on yarn. I would never normally spend this much in a month. It was bad. So bad, in fact, that I have another quantity of Noro. So I'm not going to jump into that first. I'm going to kind of go chronologically. So the thing that spiraled me was Drops had a sale on their kid silk, and I bought 6 balls of this mohair. This is in the colour, oh, I should say the Noro. This is Harry to colour 17, if you're interested. But yeah, this is colour, what is this? This is colour 17 as well, which is kind of funny. I bought this to hold as a second for a piece that I'm gonna frog. So this is the alpaca. These are not an exact colour match, but the swatch looked okay. I basically wanted to buy the mohair because I wanted to re-knit the jumper more oversized, but I was worried that I would run out of yarn. So I'm hoping if I knit a bigger gauge with an extra yarn held in, that we should get some more meterage. So went to buy that because the Drops were having one of their 30% off sales, and this was kind of earlier in the month. This is when I started feeling really inspired by summer knits. I did my like spring plans video. I was like, this year I really want to make spring and summer knits because I didn't make any last year. Literally all my knits are pretty much wool jumpers. So while I was perusing for the Drops kid silk mohair, I decided to also get some Drops belt. So again, these were featured in my plans videos. This is just a swatch of it knitted up. I thought I'd show you since I had it. Again, I'm not going to go too much into what I want to use this for here because I already did a whole video, but I want to make a top with this with like a ribbed body and then like stockinette top, and this is colorway 26. I think that this is pearl. I remember exactly what it's called, but it's not the cream and it's not the off-white, so I think it's the pearl. But yeah, this is like a linen viscose cotton viscose linen blend yarn. I also got the same yarn in this green color. This is color 10, which again is going to be for like a little summer top. So I was like, like, you know, we're on our little summer top kick. I have like summer yarns, but I have predominantly cotton, and I don't want to knit everything in 100% cotton because it doesn't have memory, and so once it stretches, it's stretched. Like, I probably wouldn't be making that rose what am I even doing? I probably wouldn't be making the rose sole top in cotton if I was to shop for yarn for it, but since it's stash, it's like whatever, it's a DK weight summer top. If it stretches out eventually and I can't really wear it, it's not going to be too long that I've actually spent like knitting on it. I'm pretty sure I did all of this in maybe like an evening. It's like really working up super fast, so I wasn't too precious about it. But yeah, I put on my story, does anyone have any yarns they'd recommend? And I think that this bell is literally exactly the same as the Sun is Gone Line. I think that's how you say it. Someone did comment and tell me how to say it. I think it's Line. But yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same, just way cheaper. So I thought we'll try the cheaper option. And then I also bought some Viking Garn Bamboo. This is a cotton and bamboo mix. Again, someone recommending bamboo. They said that the garments held up super well, and this is so soft. Like, if you're sensitive and you want a summer yarn, this is really, really soft. I think it's like maybe a 50, yeah, it's like a 50-50 blend. It's obviously just black. I want to make a halter neck top with this. So this was the beginning of the slippery slope that came. I ordered that, did my spring plan video, and at this point I was just like, the problem is once I start looking at yarn and once I've been on a yarn website and the tabs open and then it's like, oh, look at this, now look at this, that's when I then went to buy this because I knew that I wanted to make the blouse number 1. And obviously, like I said, I bought one more quantity of Noro, which is this, which is so beautiful. This is much more accurate to what I thought than what this was, but they're obviously quite different in vibe. This is what I was inspired to get after finishing my off the shoulder jumper, and this is the Noro hand-weave cotton. So this is a 60% wool and 40% cotton blend, and it's, I think, like a 4 to 4.5 millimeter needle. So this is like about a DK. I really wanted to try this because I haven't actually tried a wool and cotton blend. I feel like this will be such a nice transitional piece. I bought 4 of these because I wanted, like, I knew that this was going to be a fitted top, so I wouldn't need so much, but with this I really wanted like a more oversized, like normal, more in line with what I usually make jumper. And they actually did have like project photos of this yarn and this colorway specifically on Ravelry, so I was really able to see kind of like what it looked like knitted up. It's obviously brown with these like pink and blue flecks running through it, and I mean, I'm just so excited. I went through such a palaver to get this. I ordered it from somewhere in the UK and then they cancelled because they didn't actually have it in stock. But the thing with me is, like, once I get my mind set on something, I'm like, I have to have it. So I found somewhere on eBay that had it, ordered it, didn't realise it came from America, and I was like, oh my god, am I going to be hit with like loads of taxes and tariffs and stuff? It came absolutely fine, but yeah, I spent a lot on shipping to get this in the end because I was so caught up on the fact that like I have to have this now, and I'm really pleased that I do. The place I ordered it from also put in a Noro magazine, so I thought I'd just quickly show you. I was not expecting this at all. Is this like a typical thing? I honestly don't know. There's loads of basically the first half is like photos of different pieces, and then the back is like patterns on how to make it. So yeah, that was a surprise. I really didn't expect that. It was like proper wedged in the bag as well. But yeah, I mean, like, this blanket's kind of cool, but also I don't think I could ever bring myself to use Noro on a blanket. Like, I can't even imagine how expensive that is to do. But yeah, I do love me a Noro. I have some Madara as well that I'm really itching to knit up. That's where I spiraled. I knit up a sample of my Madara, and basically was then like, I want more. And yeah, that's where we are. So yeah, RP my bank account. Also, I haven't bought too much yarn this year. My yarn ban has not been doing fantastic, I will say, but I do feel really good about knitting through a lot of my stash yarns, and yeah, I'm really excited about a lot of these new pieces. So yeah, I think that is actually everything. We actually got through everything really quick today. I feel like I was a bit more concise than I usually am. So I hope that I didn't like rush through everything. I hope that you enjoyed this video, enjoyed seeing what I'm working on. Next month I have, well, we are actually in May now, so I guess this month I actually have a lot of sewing plans, as in clothes. I did buy a couple of patterns, sewing patterns, at the end of this month, but I probably won't go through them here. I'm thinking of doing some other videos on that. So hopefully next month we're going to have a mix of like fibre arts and sewn pieces. But yeah, like I said, I hope that you enjoyed. If you're interested to see how these whips kind of finish up and what I make with these new yarns, definitely don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm over on Instagram, Fashion by Beth. There's going to be a testicle coming very soon for my jumper pattern, and I think that is really everything. I'm not going to plug myself too much. Shop's down below, and yeah, I hope hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.